Oh, James, it's good to have you online. We're just going into CCHL now, so perfect timing.
So I'll stick there.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, welcome along. And Tony, I believe it's your first time here as well. So, yeah, welcome to the new job. And can we pull in, and Aaron and James, we're actually going to try and start and get this going. Aaron, can we just get it going? I know Paul's got a deadline and I want to give as much time to them to run through stuff. So how we'll play this out is run through what you can in the public paper, then we'll go into PX, can go through some of the other stuff, and then we'll obviously move back out of PX and then go to Christchurch NZ and the like. So do you want to run us through where you need to, and then we'll take questions?
Yeah, right. Thanks, Sam. And it's our pleasure to present the quarterly performance update. We're also presenting the subsidiaries strategic update. So that's for the third quarter to the end of March this year. You'll see from those updates that the financial performance has continued to improve. It's tracking on or about the SOI targets actually right across the group, which is good to be able to report. The other thing is we have been able to increase the dividend forecast quite substantially. You'll see in there from about 18 million up to about 34. That's driven partly by that good performance we've talked about, which has given us confidence, but also the Red Bus sale, which has enabled us to bring that into the forecast. Look, the rest of the performance is really set out in front of you, and we have presented some of it before. I do want to highlight, though, that financial performance is absolutely key, but of course there's other areas that have been focused on as well. So sustainability, health and safety have all remained being given the absolute focus and attention that they need. And so overall, I think we can say that the group has displayed significant resilience in the face of these very real challenges that COVID have brought us, and that's good to see, and that's displayed by our balance sheet still remains strong. Performance that I've talked about has increased, and also we are still delivering and projecting to deliver relatively strong dividends despite the challenges that have been sent our way. So I think with that we'll draw a line under it and go straight to questions.
Thanks, Jeremy. Do we have questions for the team? So we'll go Yanni first.
I mean, I just wanted to check if you want questions on the individual companies, or is that more appropriate for them? I guess, just to give you the...
Happy to do it in PX, if that's easier.
Right. Just at a high level on the public section of the agenda, there's talk about the airport putting on their community funding on hold because of COVID. So I just, have we heard any plans of them likely to reinstate that? Do we know anything? It's quite a specific question.
To be honest, I'm not aware of that level of detail off the cuff. We will receive business plans and final SOIs from all our companies by the end of June. Right. Which will give us a little bit more visibility, but at this stage I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just thought as a general principle it would be good because of COVID to see our companies actually supporting the community rather than withdrawing. So
yeah, look, I think they absolutely have, and I think their approach very much through COVID was focused on protecting jobs to support the community, and that was the outcome that they were consistently able to achieve.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Thanks. Any other questions in the public section? I just had one, Paul, and it's on page 234. I just wondered, it might be beneficial for the, or Jeremy, just for the council. Can you just talk us through the financial group? So the SOI measures about the profit after tax, the return on average equity for the holdings group. Can you just sort of talk through, you've obviously got the dividends there. I just wondered if you could, while we're in this public session, talk through whether you think they're acceptable, results so far, and how we're going to look forward. Is there anything you could allude to on that? Page 234.
I've got different page numbers potentially to you, Sam. But
so it's
is it the traffic light report?
Yeah, it is.
The first page of that, which is the
group
wide traffic light.
Because I guess what I'm trying to get a sense of is how you'd compare this to other companies, around the country, I guess, or with your commercial experience.
And are you talking about the specific metrics or the nature of the metrics?
I guess the nature.
Bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I talk about the nature of the metrics first, I guess profitability drives a lot of other outcomes from a shareholder perspective. So profitability obviously drives the ability to pay dividends and drive a positive return on capital. And I think typically investment companies would be focused on two measures. One would be a return on capital employed, which is effectively a total shareholder return, which is a combination of any capital gains or losses on the value of the investment portfolio. And then in addition to that, they'd add the dividend yield or the dividend returns that they receive from owning various investments. And adding those two together, you'll get the total shareholder return on capital. And so that's what we do report that. We have for a long time consistently reported that annually in our annual report. So there's a series of charts in there that look at the internal rate of return, which is effectively the total shareholder return generated across the portfolio when you add the capital gains and the dividend yield return that we receive from those subsidiaries together.
I guess what I'm trying to get to, though, is just get a sense from you guys, because it's a really good opportunity while you're here to gauge how you think the performance of CCHL as the investment company versus, I guess, other entities not related to the council is performing. Are we on par? Are we underperforming? What's your sense on that? And it might be Jeremy that can potentially answer it.
Yeah, well, I'll go first, but Jeremy can add to it. But I think individually we do benchmark the performance of all of our investments every year. And generally the companies would perform in line with market benchmarks. You've got to be careful benchmarking because within any particular year you've got a snapshot in time. And any performance measures really to be meaningful need to be assessed over a longer period of time, so that you want sustained performance. You don't want strong performance in a particular year and weak performance in other years. What would your observations be, Jeremy, to add to that?
Look, I think that snapshot thing is absolutely right. So these are unusual times right now, so that's one thing, and it depends somewhat when you're making comparisons where you are, what sectors you're operating in, how hard you're hit. But overall, what we've been really looking for is resilience, remembering, of course, the capital release program has weakened our balance sheet a little bit. We took 450 million that we put through to council, which was absolutely the right thing to do off the back of the earthquakes. Looking at the portfolio, we say things, for instance, the airports, we say is performing much better than we expected, but we were expecting losses. Yeah. And it's avoided those losses through having to take quite significant measures in very, very tough times. But what we've tried to do is focus on the things that we can influence. So performance, financial performance across the group, where it can be, has been improved, I believe. Is it at a level across the group where we want it? Not necessarily, but it's not as bad as we thought it might have been, and that's where the resilience comes in. So the airport's been hit really hard. The port has actually and is on a pathway to improve its performance within the issues that it has. City Care has definitely been able to improve its performance over this period of time. And we've got Enable coming on stream in terms of a dividend payer. So I would say the base is quite strong, but when you're looking at return on equity or return on invested capital, we've got a wee way to go yet as well. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, no, that's really useful. Does anyone have any other questions? Phil?
So with this year's dividend, what is the return on investment of the percentage return on investment for the CCHL group?
Well, this year's dividend's 34 million over 2 billion as a dividend yield. In dollars. What we'd have to add to that is the movement in the investment valuations, which are a work in progress at the moment. So they're valued at 30 June, as at 30 June each year. So that work's underway at the moment. And depending on the net movement in the valuations, that'll determine what the actual overall shareholder return will be for the year.
But we will be able to get that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's included in the annual report each year, and I think we normally take that through the audit committee. But we're happy to talk about it in any forum. Yeah.
And I think the audit committee normally sit and go through the valuations as well.
Correct.
to
Yep.
understand it. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so I think that's probably wrapped up the public-facing side of this. So we've got a recommendation on the screen there, and I think Phil, you're happy to move it, aren't you? And Tim's happy to second it. Is there any discussion on that? So we'll just put that motion. All in favour, say aye. Aye. Against, that's carried. So David, can we now bring up the resolution for public excluded? And sorry, Stephen, you would have missed it before. I just explained CCHL are under a bit of time pressure. So what we're going to do the public-facing bit now. Go into PX, just run through some of the specifics on the companies, and then come back out. So it'll probably be 15, 20 minutes. Wonderful. Yeah. So go and grab another coffee.
Just don't forget about me, eh?
Yeah. We'll send someone running, don't worry. Yeah, okay. So